If you've ever found your illustrations in Procreate looking flat and dull, I invite you to join me on a retro-inspired drawing adventure where I'll share my secrets for creating rich, vibrant results. Step by step, I'll guide you in transforming a simple ice cream drawing into an illustration full of depth and retro charm. In the description below, I will outline what brushes I have used in this tutorial. However, please feel free to use what you have. You will also find a free download of the colour palette with the colours I have used. I have set my canvas dimensions and colour profile to the following settings. Before we start, import the colour palette. Otherwise, just choose your own colours. Let's start. We're going to do a quick sketch of the ice cream. Select the grey lid, the grey colour here, at around size 20. Now select the layer, multiply, or take it down to around 50%. Rename this to sketch, and I'm just going to create 4 new layers. Select all, group, rename to ice cream. Place the sketch on top. Select the bottom layer. I'm going to select the raw pen at size 30, and the colour will be this blue here, the lighter one. So I'm just going to create an outline of the bottom scoop here. Using the same brush, I'll select this layer, choose the pink colour here, and I'm going to create an outline of the second scoop. And the third scoop. Choose the yellow here, select this layer, select this layer, select marker, this light brown here, size 15, make sure the opacity is up, create a new layer on top, raw pen, size 15 or thereabouts, select this blue colour again, and I'm just going to draw some ice cream that has melted and is oozing down the cone. And fill it in with colour. Turn the sketch layer off. This is the foundation of our illustration. At this stage, these flat coloured shapes may not look very appealing, but I'm going to share some of my secrets for transforming flat, dull artwork into something textured, interesting and fun. This is where the magic happens. Let's dive in. Close this group here, and I'm just going to resize the ice cream a little bit. And move it up a tad. Okay, let's just select each one and switch it to multiply. Let's add some texture to the scoops of ice cream. So I'm just going to select this layer here, create a new layer on top. I'm going to select clipping mask, and we're going to add some texture to the yellow scoop here. Now what the clipping mask does is basically whatever you draw on this layer here will be clipped to this shape underneath. Let's select the dehydrated brush, size 29. Going to select this mustard color here. Let's add some texture. Select this layer and go to multiply, and let's play around with the opacity slider. I'll just leave it at about 43%. Now for the pink scoop, create a new layer on top, clipping mask. Select this red color here, and let's add some texture. Multiply. At 60% or thereabouts. And now for the blue scoop, create a new layer, clipping mask. Select this darker blue here. Select multiply. Might leave it at around 69, 70%, that's fine. Select this layer here, create a new layer on top, clipping mask. Might just go down for the size for this one. So we're still on the dehydrated brush. Might just go down a bit for this one and just add a bit of texture to the dripping melted ice cream. Select this layer here, create a new layer on top, clipping mask. Now this time I'm going to use the weathered texture brush. I'll select this darker brown here, try it at around 6%. Set to multiply, play around with the opacity slider. 45% we'll do here. Now create a new layer on top here. I'm going to create a clipping mask. We're going to select the wet and dry brush, size 4. The color will be this light cream color here. And we're just going to create a pattern on the cone. So this is a waffle cone. So you can just go over this twice like so. And now the opposite way. We have some nice texture in the illustration now. Let's select the top layer and create a new layer on top. I'm going to select the rugged marker, size 7. Make sure the opacity is at 100%, and the color will be this dark color here. Let's add some cute little faces to each of the ice cream scoops. Now I'll just create a new layer on top. I'm going to select the gritty crayon at size 8, and for the color I just use this color, this blue color here. And what we're going to do is just create a little bit of interest around the illustration. I'm just going to draw these little strokes. Actually, that's too big, so just take it down in size a little bit. Let's try it at size 6. So that's looking pretty good, but now for the final touches. So just close this group, and we're going to create 2 new layers on top. Group these, and I'll rename this to backgrounds. I'll just do a BG for background, and close this, and just pop it underneath here. Open the group and select the bottom layer. Let's create a little bit of a background for this illustration here. So for this, I'm going to use the Magic Rugged texture. I'm going to select the lightest cream here and set it to around 66% is fine. So we're just going to create a little bit of a background for the illustration, and this brush is quite cool. It gives it quite a nice textured feel to the illustration. Now we have a little bit of a problem here. Since I've put in this background shape here, some of that color and texture is coming up through the scoops here, because I did change them to multiply earlier on. So we are going to fix this problem. So I'm just going to teach you a little trick, and this may be a little bit advanced for some of you, but I will do my best to explain it to you. So select this texture layer here and select mask. We are going to go to the color and select the disc. Now for this, I'm going to select the darkest black possible, and there's a quick way of doing that. It's just double click down here. And I'll select the sleek marker here, just at the largest size, just so I can show you how this works. Alright, so this is the layer mask here, and anywhere now that I draw in with this marker will appear as black on the layer mask. And what that essentially does is it hides this area here. We're working in a non-destructive manner, so we can always go back and change this. And the way we would do that would be to go and select a pure white, so double click up here, make sure we're on the layer mask, and then we can work our way back, and that just brings all that information back. So we will now apply what we've just learnt to the ice cream scoops. So on the layer mask, we'll go to the disc and select a pure black. On the layer mask, sleek marker, I'm going to take it down to 18%. So I'm just going to work my way around all of the scoops. So just to start off with, I'm going to create an outline with the brush. And now that I've created an outline, I'm just going to increase the size, and I can do the bits in the center. So I can just show you here. So these are all the areas I filled in with the black, and it's basically erased those areas from the background so that those areas are not showing up under these scoops here. And there are some bits that I didn't quite get, so I might just increase the size and go in and quickly do it like so. make sure I've covered all the areas on the inside. Now you can see that there, so these are all the areas I've covered. And if I turn off the ice cream layer just momentarily, you can see what's happened here, and I can just work that in a little better, getting any missed bits from earlier. So that's basically how a layer mask works. So I'll just turn the ice cream group back on so you can see what's happening here. Now for the final touches, I'm just going to select this group here, and in here I will select the layer mask as well. Let's use the selection tool, and I'm just going to make this illustration just a tad smaller in here, and just move it up like so. And now I'll select this layer here. I'm going to go back to the palette and select this darker cream here. I'm going to use the distressed brush for this job. Add around 10%, and quickly go to the layer and create a clipping mask. And I'm just going to add a little bit of texture. It's very subtle, but it just adds that extra touch. Just here and there, but not too much. And now I'll just create a new layer on top. I'm going to go back to that lighter cream here, and I'm going to use the blotch tool for this job. Now this one needs to be quite small. Try 1%. And I'm just going to add a little bit of texture just here and there, but it's going to be very, very subtle. We're not going to overdo it. Like so. And for the final touch, I'm just going to add a little bit of handwritten text. Create 2 new layers, group these, rename, text. Now select the top layer. I'll use the gritty crayon for this job. The color is this dark color here, at around 6%. So at the top here, I'll just write good, so it'll say good times. I'll select this layer here and write times. I'm just going to grab the selection tool and just make this a tad smaller and center it. I'll do the same with good. And center that. So that's the end of the tutorial. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let's have a look at the final artwork. I'll just zoom up a little bit so we can see. So we've got quite a lot of texture in this artwork, which I think is what makes it quite interesting. So we've got all that texture in the scoops, in the waffle cone here, in the background we've got a lot of beautiful texture here. Even the handwritten text is a little bit textured. If you think you have gained any value from this tutorial, please like and subscribe, and I'll be posting these drawing tutorials on a regular basis, so I'll see you in the next one.